What is up, YouTube? It's me, Unruly, and we're going to talk about right now. Normally, I don't really do videos on NRS rumors or NRS leaks. That's not been my thing. I'll usually come up with my own conspiracy theories, which some of them have come true, time travel. But anyways, I'm here to talk about a little bit about not so much the rumor itself, but what's been going on with the FGC and the overreaction and people going crazy that supposedly that there was going to be a Marvel versus DC made by NetherRealm Studios, and a lot of people are like up and at it, and fighting and this and that, and it's taking me back to the old days, right? To the old days of when being a Mortal Kombat fan, you were the black sheep of the FGC, right? Because now whatchamacallit, now that's just coming back, because now all of a sudden I think there's a lot of Marvel fans that are upset, a lot of Capcom fans that are upset. And here's the deal, guys. Would I like to see, I'll be 100% honest, for the past two NRS games, I haven't been that crazy over the style, right? To me, Injustice 2 at the highest level focused a little bit too much on the zoning, and MK11's style is a little bit more slowed down and more footsie based. That's just not my thing. I play it from time to time. I still enjoy playing a good fighting game. I think MK is fun. I play for a bit and I'm like, okay, that's enough for me. I just like the more. I'm just gonna say it. I come back from the days of my favorite games were the Marvel vs. Capcom series. I had a lot of fun playing those series in the arcade. I came from Family Fun Arcade, and those were the games that were getting played the most. And I like the hype style gameplay, right? With that being said, what NetherRealm does, sorry, that car is going crazy. But anyways, what NetherRealm has done in the fighting game industry is they've set the bar here. So whatever you feel like, I might not be a super huge fan of MK11's playstyle, but you know what? There's plenty of people that love it. There's plenty of people that just like, man, I love this style. It's a lot more fun to me. It's not as overwhelming. So hey, that's all good. But regardless about the playstyle, about anything else, I will say this: NRS set the bar higher. And NRS set the bar extremely high when it comes to fighting games, right? With all the stuff that you get in fighting games, like the amazing story mode, the great single player experience. Hey, it started off a little rocky, but they listened to the fan feedback and they made it a lot better when it came to unlocking things and so forth like that. And they set the bar so high that now all other fighting game companies are trying to do the same thing. With Tekken, they came out with this expansive story mode, and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite came out with this story mode, and Street Fighter tried to come out with a story mode, right? Why? Because NRS did it, and they just did it well, right? So now I think all these other fighting game companies, we're trying to do the same thing. And you know what? For some of those companies like Namco and Capcom, y'all don't need to do that. Y'all don't need to do that. Like, you don't need a giant story mode for Street Fighter. You don't need a giant story mode for Tekken. It's pretty good. I appreciate it. But the thing is, those games shine on their gameplay, and not to say that Mortal Kombat doesn't, right? Mortal Kombat 9, Mortal Kombat X, and Injustice 1, all those, even these later games have fantastic, cool gameplay. It's just, what style do you like, right? But I think is what I mean by that, like Capcom and Namco, you guys have this great, amazing gameplay that people love. For me, I'd say make your games a little bit cheaper, expand on what you've done in the past, for years. Give us some fun arcade ladders and different kinds of modes, and do some cool arcade endings and stuff like that. Don't worry so much about the story mode because that takes a lot of time. NetherRealm's got that down. You guys, let's be real. You guys aren't gonna. I think the other company do the best was probably Namco with Tekken. Like their story mode was pretty dang good, but not nowhere NRS level. I just say focus on your gameplay, focus on the fun stuff because NRS is destroying with that. But like with that said, I've seen the FGC just at this Civil War, like, we don't want, and and the thing is, you guys are forgetting one thing, and that's sales, right? As much as I want to say it, and as much as you want to say, I want this gameplay, I want all this stuff, the FGC and the vocal people on Twitter make up a fraction of the sales of the bigger picture, right? So you're a company and you want to come up and be like, hey, we want you to make a fighting game, or we want to work with you and make a fighting game. Are you going to go to the company with the consecutively highest, with the blockbuster company, right? With the company, right? Like, you're going to want to go with that. You're going to, like, if a company and you have a valuable IP, you're going to want to take your IP to the most popular, to the company that's been putting out hit after hit. That's just business, right? They're not going to be like, you know what, NetherRealm, you've got the hottest selling game, but you know what, your gameplay, we've heard some people online saying that they're not a fan of. They're going to say, dang, look how good you can make this game look. Look how crazy and cool your story mode is, right? Because at the end of the day, 95% of the people who buy the game are just people who go to work, want to see cool stuff, younger kids, and then the rest is FGC. We make up a small fraction of the people who purchases these games, because you know what? At the end of the day, graphics sell, presentations sell. I mean, that's why I've had friends when I was working at this game company, well, another game company. I worked for a trailer house. We made video game trailers, and when Injustice 2 came out, I had buddies that were not fighting game fans at all, that didn't know how to play fighting games at all, crazy excited talking to me about Injustice, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait to play Injustice, and this and that. And I have tons of friends that aren't fighting game guys that were really excited and talking to me about Injustice, about the story mode, about all that stuff. And like, they were excited about the single player content and all the costume stuff like that. They said they weren't really excited about going online. They were excited about playing the game, seeing all that stuff. So, like I said, and when it comes to that, NetherRealm just kills it, right? With all that stuff. And there's going to be people like, at the end of the day, whatever company, if indeed they talk to Marvel's gonna be like, dang, you know what? I think we can trust you with our brand. I think you guys can put together something cool. And do I think the rumors are true? I don't know. I do see Ed talking a lot about DC Marvel stuff, a lot of tweeting out Marvel stuff and DC stuff every now and then. Could he have been trolling for a long time? He likes to do that. Ed, but you know what? Ed also liked tweeting about Freddy Krueger and tweeting about aliens and tweeting about a lot of things that ended up coming to fruition in his games. But would I like to see another Marvel vs. Capcom? Yes. I'll be real. Excuse me. I enjoy Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite's playstyle. I think it's fantastic to watch and to see at high level. It's super hype. It's super cool. I like that game. I just couldn't get down with the roster. The roster was very limited. I wanted some characters. I wanted more stuff. And unfortunately, the roster wasn't just not there for me. I think roster's important. NetherRealm has these giant games with big rosters and stuff like that. So That's another thing. I mean, I take the gameplay of Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite over MK11. That's just my choice, right? But I think it just, at the end of the day, if you were to do a massive game like that, look, what would be the perfect thing? You know what I would do? Like, if I'm Mr. Producer or I'm the rich man, I would say, hey, NetherRealm, we want you to take care of all the story sequences and everything of Marvel versus DC. Hey, um, I would I would go to Capcom. I'm like, Capcom, I want you to make the fighting game engine. NetherRealm is going to handle all the story, cinematics, all the things like that. Then I would go to the team of the Guilty Gear team, and I'm like, hey, I want you guys to do the visuals. I want you guys to do the. You guys are in charge of the look of the game. So then it would end up looking like Dragon Ball or Guilty Gear. In a perfect world, right? That would be the dream. That would be the dream game right there. Marvel versus DC. Visuals by Arc System Works. Story mode handled by NetherRealm. Fighting game engine handled by Capcom. And it would handle like a versus series, right? Because Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was flames. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, those were some great games. That's what would be in a perfect world, but we don't live in a perfect world, right? But if NetherRealm were to make this game, it would look amazing. It would have some crazy, awesome story mode and a bunch of single player stuff. There's a lot of players like the casual players that I know that still like playing Injustice and leveling up their characters and making them look cool and so forth like that. But I don't know. I don't know if the rumors are true. I'm not saying, hey, that's gonna happen. I'm just saying, like, hey, FGC, let's chill. Let's think of the bigger picture, right? Because a company's gonna look at NetherRealm and be like, damn, we would like them to make our IP, right? That's what happened with Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers is like, dang, we have a chance to buy NRS. They make Mortal Kombat 9. And that story mode was good and all this stuff. Maybe we'll buy them and then we'll ask them to make some fighting games with DC. And that's what happened. And look at just the story modes that came out of it. And that's one thing I've always respected about NRS, right? Of course they don't of course some stuff has been, like there was MK versus DC, but it was all a stepping stone to where they are now. Everything that they've done, they went from 2D to 3D with MK4 and with, the Deception and Armageddon and Deadly Alliance. Like everything has been building up and they've been improving, and now look where they are. They're the top. Regardless of whether you like the play style, regardless of whether you like Mortal Kombat, regardless of whether, the zoning was a problem, they're at the top. Nobody's outselling them when it comes to fighting games. Only other company that's doing it is Smash Brothers, right? And we're not going to get into that debate. Is Smash Brothers a fighting game? Is whatever. We know what I think, but whatever. But with that said, a Marvel versus DC game looking amazing, and with NetherRealm's track record of just solid work ethic when it comes to their finished product, right? Like, we know that that Marvel Avengers game was pretty buggy, right? And when an NRS game comes out, it's pretty damn solid. There might be broken characters, but they're not going to get like buggy games, or stuff like that. So, and that's what I mean by the whole work ethic thing. When they put out a game, it's damn, So as a company, they're going to look at that and be like, We want some of that. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think for me, just the story mode of an NRS Marvel versus DC game would be worth it. The visuals, because let's take a look at this, chat. Let's take a look at this. There they are.
I made that shit up.
It was pretty
Look at this. Now imagine this is Marvel versus DC, and NetherRealm is doing this.
Raiden just gonna walk up. Hey everybody, how's it going?
So it's
See this
like,
amulet? I'm gonna fuck everybody up.
Yeah. Now imagine Marvel versus DC, and the story mode is something like this.
I'm gonna zap all your asses with this shit.
He's like, oh, you're.
We're just gonna take a good look at this scene.
Yeah, right?
at this point, if I was the guy behind that way, I'd be like,
I'm like,
fuck,
Yeah, I'm out.
fuck this.
well, he's fried.
This is not worth 12 an hour.
12 an hour.
You guys go that way. I'll go home.
Exactly, Steve. Look at this, man. You'd have like Batman and Superman, like what's going on down there? And I'm telling you, man,
Undead sucks.
the general public takes one look at this and they're like, give it to me. Put it into my veins.
Wow, she has long hair now.
Sonya?
Yeah.
Oh no, Cassie, yeah.
Yeah, Cassie.
You know? So that's the thing that I would get excited. But yeah, man, like, I don't know. It's just, we're just seeing the FGC up in arms right now, all upset, all mad, like, ah, rah, sis boom ba. But, like I said, a big company is not going to be like, damn, you know what? Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, it might have been ugly, and it might have not sold well, but damn, did it have good gameplay. That's just not going to happen. They're going to look at NetherRealm. And I will say one other thing. There are some people working right now in Marvel Studios that are from Capcom. So if this were to happen, it's safe to say that there would be some people in there that would be like, hey, let's that would stand up for the gameplay and probably, you know what, let's see what we can do. We can change it, right? Because they're working now with their IP. So you would have these maybe ex-Capcom guys that are now in Marvel that'd be like, hey, let's try to do this. Let's try to do that. So even if you weren't that crazy about the last few NRS, the way they played, there's some Capcom people now at Marvel that used to work there. I used to work at Capcom, they're now working for Marvel. So there's that hope, but I don't know. I don't know about those rumors. Could they be true? I don't know. I look at Ed's tweets, talks a lot about Marvel, talks a lot about Spider-Man, talks a lot about stuff like that. Maybe. But I'm just saying, don't be surprised if it did happen, because NetherRealm's a goddamn good studio. They make some amazing stuff. And don't forget, the FGC, the tournament player, make up a small fraction of the people that buy fighting games. Small fraction. Most of it is people like, dang, this looks cool. I want to play with it. I want to play. Do I want to play online? Probably no. I'll get bodied. I have a lot of friends like, oh, I'm going to wait to buy Mortal Kombat until the Ultimate Edition comes out, or that, like that. There's tons. Lots of people. It's not like Call of Duty, right? Like COD, you know, everybody that plays online and watches videos, that's their base. But fighting games is a whole different breed, right? And with the game, and I'll say one last thing, with a game with a Marvel versus DC, that could bring in huge numbers. And you know what game is one of the most popular games of all time? Is Smash Brothers. Why? Because its roster is giant. and it's the most beloved roster probably of all time. And it created, you know, I'll say it, the FGC monsters. It created crazy people that not crazy, that loved the game so much that they wanted to get good at it because it's such a good game and such a beloved game. For me, I like Smash. I can't do the things that those crazy pros do, all that stuff. I like it enough to just be decent at it. But a really good game, a really popular game can get more people in the FGC. It can get that, it can bring that crowd and be like, damn, this is awesome. I really want to get good at this. This game looks cool. It's actually fun. And that's what we want. We want to get people in the FGC. We want to get people to play more fighting games. At the end of the day, that's what we want. And a game like Marvel vs. DC made by NetherRealm could just end up doing that. You know? And that's my little soapbox, guys. Right? I just want some more people to play and experience games. And a Marvel vs. DC game made by NetherRealm, I don't think it would be like some people are just like, oh no, you know, it was Marvel vs. Capcom, or oh my god, the animation, you know, Terminator's animation, that kick. That's the only bad thing they could really say. The only bad thing that most of the people could say was the animation, because a couple of kicks didn't look so hot. Because maybe the gameplay wasn't what they wanted it to be. That's your only thing that you could say that would be bad, other than NRS giving us impeccable rollback netcode, amazing single player experiences if you are just a fighting game casual fan, and you know, a crazy roster and cool just extra features and amazing story mode. But a lot of people just want to talk about, you know, Terminator's down 3 or Jason's down 3 or whatever. Yeah, sure. I mean, you could talk about that, but 90% of the people who buy the game aren't going to be like, damn, look at his down 3. This game's trash. Well, stop it. I don't want it. Oh, well, anyways, guys, I guess that's my video. I could go probably on and about that. But anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching. As always, have a good one. Keep it 5 time. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like. I would appreciate it.